Dentists are some of the harshest critics out there.
And we have no filter
No filter.
on the social context of trying to
Oh,
call somebody out. We'd rather pay a higher lease rate for a grade A location compared to professional building. But
oh, man, you took the words out of my mouth, man. I think the biggest scam in dentistry, period, is. What up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Hi, I'm Doctor. And today we have Scott Kollen, all the way from British Columbia, Canada. What's up, my homie?
how's it going, Nicky? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Man,
Been a few weeks, I guess.
yeah, I saw him. We were at a course together a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, Scott, you got to come on the pod. And he's like, dude, I got nothing to talk about. I'm like, man, those are the best guests. And they're like, they downplay themselves. They're like, I got nothing to say. And then really, these are the gold nuggets that we rip out of you, man. So, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy.
No worries. I appreciate the invite. I'm always happy to do this.
Yeah, man. And we kind of know each other through mutual circles. Tell me about your dental, how you got into dentistry, where you started practicing, and where you're at now.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in Vancouver, well, one of the suburbs right now. I grew up here. I did my undergrad in dental school at UBC. And then after grad, I moved out to a small town on Vancouver Island, practiced there for a couple of years, tried to be a surf bum and fly fishing bum, and then decided I should probably continue on with my dental career.
Man, I don't care
And
what people say. Surfing is ridiculously hard, and I've never been able to actually stand up. Is it?
and
Is it
then when you
true?
do it in cold water, it's even
Oh,
harder.
it's even worse. Is it true if you're really tall, you can never stand up? Is it it's better to be shorter, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're both kind of lanky guys,
I
and it doesn't
know.
lend itself well to the sport.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was on Vancouver Island and then ended up moving out to Calgary. I joined an associate in a very busy group practice there, and I think we know a lot of the partners in Trek Dental. I think you know Mebs
Mebs,
quite
man. I
well.
love Mebs. I got to get Mebs on the pod, man.
Shout out to Mebs. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he'd be
Scott,
a riot.
we were saying when we were with each other, I'm like, man, there's no other genuine laughter than Mebs. Mebs saying
Exactly.
he has just the most boisterous laugh. And you're like you're just at home with this guy because he brings you in with his laugh. Anyways,
He's
we'll
like
get him
a
on the pod.
he's like a 30-year-old trapped in a 50 or 60-year-old spot. I don't know how old you are, Rebs. Apologies if I was way off on that. But anyways, so yeah, I was with Trek Dental. I was associate there, very busy practice. And then Jan and the other partners had asked if I would be interested in joining them as a partner in a startup, which I jumped at the chance to, and that was in Bridge Labs, which is one of the kind of inner city locations. So that was probably a year and a half after I joined them. We opened that. I was still spending some time at the original busy suburban clinic. And then life happens, and my girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
matched to a medical fellowship back in Vancouver. And so I ended up parting ways with Trek very amicably. Came back to Vancouver to do a startup, but startups take time. And
Yeah.
so I spent a year flying back and forth between here and Calgary. So I'd work in Calgary 2-3 days a week, fly
Scott,
back
I
here, work on
have
the startup.
tremendous respect that you would leave your job, leave your practice for a relationship. Because to me, that's like, no, couldn't do it. Nope, not happening. And you did it, man. That's
Yeah, I
love.
did, but then after a few months of flying back and forth, that relationship was no longer.
I noticed
So
you said partner at the time.
at the
And
time,
oh my
exactly,
dude, I
exactly.
can't believe you
But
gave up your practice, man. That's
I
amazing.
know,
That's love.
I
That's
know,
love.
but
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, anyway, like
I got you.
I've
I
got
got you.
I've got a kid with a different girl now who is now my wife. We're happily married,
So it
and
happened for a reason. Happened for a
there
reason.
you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, did the fly back and forth thing, opened in 2019, and now it's just been
Ooh,
on a roller
pre-COVID.
coaster of growth.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
10
start
months.
a startup right before COVID. How was that?
Yes. It was great. We ended up having our online booking system crash from too many people trying to book their first appointments in the first couple hours that it went live. And yeah, it was gangbusters. Um, I was trying to take basically everything I'd learned from Mebs and Jan and all those guys and what was working in Calgary and try and make it work in a bit of a more competitive market in Vancouver. And so far it's been working out.
That's awesome. You know what the blessing is, making your practice in 2019? You didn't pay the 2020 or
Oh,
2021 prices of all the
yes.
equipment that went up 40% for no real good reason.
Yeah.
They just
But
like,
I'm eating that now
what do you mean you're
because,
oh, I guess interest,
well,
right?
because we outgrew the space. So now I'm expanding and I'm looking at what I paid for a
Oh,
chair 4 years ago or 5 years ago compared to now. And I'm like, whoa,
it just doesn't even make sense. It's the exact same damn chair and it's an extra like 40%. How do you think they
yes,
justify that?
exactly. I don't know, but their fees went up, and I guess ours should be going up accordingly as well.
But it's not. I don't know
But
about BC. Ours isn't going up very much at all.
that's one
So
thing I miss about Calgary.
yeah.
Alberta fees.
Yeah. A little bit different to BC fees for sure.
Yes.
But Scott, you are now you started your startup. It's going really well. And now
But
you're expanding. Let's dive into this here. How did you know it was a smart time to expand?
um, bit of a loaded question. So originally, when we built out the space, we took 5,000 square feet, um, and it kept half for dental, and then a quarter for physio. We was subleasing it, and then another quarter for a medical clinic. And I don't know what the situation is like with family physicians in Alberta right now, but in BC, we're hurting.
Yeah.
And the medical clinic behind us, they couldn't keep a doctor at all. It was just a rotating door of locums, and they ended up having to shut down. So they shut down end of October last year, so just over a year ago. And coincidentally, it happened that we were pretty much reaching max capacity about a year ago. So I ended up taking over their space, and it's just been kind of sitting around twiddling thumbs, waiting for the city to approve permits.
Hmm.
Well, I'm paying carrying costs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it was it was pretty much a no-brainer on it's time to take that space and add more chairs.
So do you own the building?
No, it's leased.
It's least so now you've
Yeah,
taken on another 1,250 square feet. Is that what I'm hearing?
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're taking on this 1,250 square feet. What's your goal with it?
We're adding four more operatories, rearranging the doctor's room, adding some more admin like check-in, check-out space. I've got a little alcove for if we had a milling unit or 3D printer, adding more storage space, and basically just trying to keep up with demand. The area that I'm in is growing like a weed, so need to have the chairs open to accommodate the people that are moving in.
Dude, I'm so glad. I'm proud of you, man. Like, I'm glad to hear this because
Thank
I
you.
would hate to have you on the pod if you said this place is dying, it's stealing my soul. And no, this is great, Scott. This is a great problem to have.
It's a
So
wonderful problem to have. Wait,
totally. I've expanded my office 4 times now. We went from
in work?
8 chairs to 12 chairs to 16 to 19 to 24 now, or 2022. Every time you expand, in my experience,
If
you
it,
make a piecemeal clinic. And then
yes,
when you look at the end of the day, nothing, it's just
it's like a
like
Frankenstein.
it is. And that's the tough part. And so when people say like, I'm expanding, I'm like, just be prepared that the overall layout will not make sense.
Yes, exactly.
Do you
And that's
agree with
always the
that?
thing that, oh, 100%. And I wrestle with it all the time. It's like, this would look so much better if we had just known this from the start. But
Yeah.
I mean, I would
Hindsight,
never
man.
have been able to support the rent on a whatever, how many 3,700 square foot
Totally.
place um, from the start. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Now I got a question because so when I expanded, I had like for the last expansion I made for our sedation center, I had to basically add a whole electric panel because I couldn't
Mhm.
add to the other electric panel. So like we basically
Yep.
had to do a practice within a practice. They dig up all the floors, they try to connect it to the other lines. It's always a crapshoot. What kind of
Yep.
difficulties are you envisioning? Because you said you're still waiting for permits. What kind of
So I take that
like
back.
difficulties? Okay.
We got permits. So we started demolition on that space about a month ago. How old was
Okay.
my kid? 6 weeks. Yeah, it was 6 weeks ago because he was just born, and then I had to go out to the clinic like a few days afterwards.
You good, honey? I'm leaving you. You got this,
Pretty
right?
much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
What kind of difficulties? Noise, trying to
Yep.
do construction sandwiched in between two operating businesses is a lot more difficult
Yep.
compared to when it's just an empty shell and nobody cares if it's dusty or noisy. Um, so yeah, that's honestly the biggest one. What else? Yeah, again, like you said, it's a crapshoot. And in our case, just trying to like trace back which wire led to where does this
Yep.
plumbing run go to, and all those fun things.
What color is this paint again? Because I need to match it to the rest of my clinic, and it's not winter white; it's snowball white, and it messes everything up,
Yeah.
right?
You said the correct dye lot that you had for the flooring because they don't have that at running.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Expansions are really difficult, but what have you noticed? Like, what problems have you like come across already?
The noise thing.
The noise, yeah, yeah,
First off, yeah, that's been the big one. Equipment. There's certain things that are kind of immovable. Like, well, I say immovable. Technically, everything's movable, but just depending how much time and headache and money you want to put into it. But things like the electrical panel, the compressor, basically like the mechanical room, would be
yeah,
a pain to move. And the current clinic size, sorry, the equipment that can service the current clinic size won't
that's
service
right.
the expanded
That's
size.
right.
And
Yeah,
so it's like trying to play Tetris, figuring out what will work. Do we set up two separate systems? Do we just replace everything and make it bigger? But then if we get the bigger equipment, it won't fit in this footprint in the mechanical room. So
yeah.
yeah,
No,
lots of problem solving.
it's like I'm reliving my life all over again, and it's like
So
constant stress. Okay,
I have a question for you about your
what's that?
expansion because I've seen some of these photos and videos on Instagram. It was all a dream.
Yeah.
Do you play Big E all the time?
Of course, man. I play
Yeah,
I play a lot of old school hip hop in the office.
nice,
I got in some
nice.
trouble from some patients saying your music is horrible. Why is there so many swears? Is this appropriate? And my answer to all those questions are it's my clinic, so I'm just going to do what I want.
I love it.
And it's cool because it's me. I have become a little bit more respectful when a 75-year-old ladies coming in, like maybe I don't need to blare like Drake's new album, like it's
WAP.
yeah.
I had that play one.
Nope, can't play that one. Even I put my
No.
foot down on that one. Yeah, no, it's you're definitely right. Like you want these expressions of you, but you can't, like, you have to be mindful of your clientele. Like, I'm in Alberta, man. Everyone loves country music. So yeah, of course I'm going to listen to country. It tears my soul out when I'm listening to it, but I'm like, whatever. But like when
Oh,
I
I'm
have
a big
sedation
country fan.
days, no, come on, Scott.
I sit on both sides of the fence. I love my hip hop. I love my basketball. I saw the
Yeah.
Jumpman thing, but my wife is a born and raised Albertan, and I like my country music too.
Damn, man. Oh well, you belong out here then, man. No, man, but it's like, how have you made your clinic, like, you've seen my clinic, everyone's seen my clinic, like how have you, or how are you going to make your clinic a representation of you? Because I feel like that's so important. You can't just make a cookie cutter clinic these days. Patients want to see who the dentist is, and your expression is through your clinic.
That's a great question because I think I've done a not so great job on that lately. This is just refreshing my memory, but the clinic in Calgary, I actually had a whole bunch of blown up high quality photographs of like uh, mountain streams that I go fly fishing in, or spring
Yeah.
beaches that I really enjoyed surfing at. And actually, my wife got me she got me a photo of me fly fishing at this mountain lake that we had hiked into once. So that's up in the office, but yeah, I could get more artwork up in there.
Dude, you need to, because it's not only art, it's a conversation piece for your patients. Your patients respect you so much more once they know Scott. They don't
Yes,
want to know Dr. Kollen, they want to know Scott, right?
this is
and
true. This is
and
true.
and that's my recommendation for you. When you build out this clinic, I better see you all over that place. Not pictures of you, but like fly fishing, surfing, beaches.
Surfing.
Like, man,
We got
everyone
some
loves that
basketball in
stuff.
there too.
Totally, right? Yeah, no, I
Exactly.
think your clinic has to be a representation of you. But we all know the hindering point of a lot of expansions is cost. And
Yes.
Scott, I saw you're also speaking at PDC. I'll be there.
Yes.
You'll be there. You'll be there on
Yes.
Saturday. You're talking about cost containment during startups. I think this
Yes.
is I think this is great. Tell me more about that, man.
So 20, when was PDC 20? Oh, that was the infamous PDC
Oh,
of 2020.
patient
The
zero.
the super spreader.
Yeah. Man, you won't. I got so many phone calls from patients being like, "Was Necky at that dental conference? Tell him to go home. He has to isolate." And I was like,
Oh man,
I
I had
feel
already
fine.
posted photos of
I
me being
know.
there.
I
Like
what a
the
mistake.
people that
What a
were going.
mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, the damage had been done from a PR standpoint
Yeah.
already, but yeah, so that was my my first foray into speaking, and I had spoken on startups, just comparing and contrasting Calgary experiences, Vancouver experiences, ways that can ways that save money through equipment, floor plan, demographics to look at. Because like with Calgary, it was a slow growth, and with Vancouver, it was the total opposite. So I kind of lived both sides of the story, and so I wanted to kind of share what had worked, what had been really beneficial. So yeah, that started in 2020,
Hey
and
Scott,
then
why do you
yes,
think that is? Why do you think Vancouver was a rocket ship and Calgary was kind of flat?
demographics and location. It has nothing to do with me personally. I wish I could say that I'm some superstar dentist, but the demographics and location and just making it easy for people to get in.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. See, I always thought Vancouver was so saturated that like it would
It
be hard to
is.
make a go out of it.
It is, but I've got a very nice pocket of the city that's got an absolute bonkers growth rate and projected growth rate. And it just makes life so much easier.
Really? That's
And
wicked,
marketing
dude.
is like not a thing. There's like $0 when you look at the marketing line item on my P&L. So yeah, location demographics is by far the biggest difference. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so spoke in 2020, 21 PDC didn't happen, and then uh, myself and one of my colleagues from UBC, Tan Singh, he opened a few clinics in Calgary as well. And we kind of put our heads together and decided to put together a little seminar course for Canadian dentists wanting to do startups or expansions. We bring in lawyers, design experts, graphic designers, accountants, like real estate investors, basically the people that you want to talk to, but are resident to pay. And we put them all in one spot, and basically kind of walk people through the step by step of how to open a startup and how to do it in a cost efficient manner, so you don't get bogged down in debt and still have some money to operate with
And where
once
does
your
this
door's
happen?
open.
This sounds amazing. Where does that happen?
So we ran it the last couple of years, and this year as well. 2024 as well. It's all going to be at the Sutton Place Hotel in downtown Vancouver.
And when is it?
So that's April 20th and 21st. It's a Saturday, Sunday.
That's amazing. That sounds like I
So
have no desire to own more, but I think this would be great because just from a marketing point of view or like numbers or anything, I think that sounds awesome, man. How do
oh,
people like how do people find this?
so snowballseminars.com is going to be the spot to go to. And yeah, we run through like, should you do a should you do a startup versus acquisition? Does that fit into your lifestyle? What kind of professional team should you assemble? Go through the financing, legal, insurance, all that stuff. Looking at spaces, the demographics that I talked about, floor plans, equipment, which you have to fit the floor plan around so that you have room for your compressors, like we were
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
So yeah, we go through all of that stuff, sundries, equipment choices, graphic design for marketing, and then we bring in those teams of experts. We got like a little social happy hour thing as well. So
This
yeah,
sounds a
snowball
lot
seminars.
like breakaway seminars in the States. Have you
Mhm.
ever heard of that one?
I have, yeah, and I mean, there's obviously going to be parts that overlap, but where
But
Tan
that,
and I,
man, I found when I've spoken to people that went there, it was not really applicable to Canadians.
that's what we wanted to do, is bring some Canadian
Yeah, I like this.
flavor to it,
Yeah,
because there's things that are different in US markets versus Western Canada, whether it be like Vancouver or Calgary, where our real estate pressures are, the numbers aren't even close to what a lot of people in the States are seeing. Uh, Insurance negotiations is pretty much a non-issue for Canadian dentists, so we don't really talk about that. And then, yeah, just having the team of like experts in the Canadian market
I like
um,
that.
is really, really handy. So, yeah, snowballseminars.com. Your listeners can get 10% off too.
Oh man,
Uh,
can I
the,
get
the,
that 10%? Do I get like a cut? How do I get
yeah,
this?
yeah, the affiliate fee.
The
It's,
affiliate fee.
hi, I'm Dr. 10, and they'll get a
Ooh,
10% off at
yeah.
checkout.
Or
So
I'll tell them to
yeah,
reach out right to you, Scott. This
or
is
they can do that. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's wicked. Snowball seminars.
Yeah.
I know you're part of something else though. It's Kakebo. That's where I've heard of you before. Can you explain to me what Kakebo Dental Network is?
So Cable Dental Network is basically a fledgling GPO, and a GPO is a group purchasing organization. So they're very common, A, in the States, and B, across a lot of healthcare fields, like verticals, where uh, let's say a group of hospitals joins together, they negotiate preferred fees from vendors for their gauze or their anesthesia
Yeah.
supplies, uh, their scrubs, their towels, all of that kind of stuff. And basically, a GPO leverages member numbers to negotiate better fees
Mhm.
for whatever types of expenses that a business typically has. And I wanted to try and bring some of that into Canada, because feel like Canada is a little bit behind. And I'm
We
sure you
are.
spoke in New York, and
Yeah.
everything slowly trickles up across the border on the East Coast, and then it slowly makes its way west, and
Yeah.
then
Through Toronto, then to
through
Vancouver, right?
Toronto,
Yeah.
and through you guys. And then by the time it gets over here in Vancouver, a decade's gone past.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just launched about a month and a bit ago. Um, and we've got maybe a dozen or so vendors on board, and got talks going on all the time with more vendors that we want to bring on for everything from dental supplies to payroll to phone services, financial. I have to bring up the website. There's a bunch
No,
of
that's
items that
wicked.
I'm forgetting, but yeah.
Scott, how did you? First of all, I love the way that you carry yourself. I love the way that you think. But how did you develop all these ideas to think outside the box, wanting to share your failures, wanting to share your successes through snowball seminars or Kakebo Dental Network or teaching at PDC. Where does this drive come from to help other dentists?
In my first 2 years of practice, I was in a really slow clinic with a lot of ministry patients. It was just take the tooth out or slap a 5-surface amalgam on, and a lot of the patients wouldn't show up. So I had a lot of free time on my hands. And I don't know if you remember, there was a website called, oh man, why is the name escaping me? Dental Town.
Yep.
And I spent hours on Dental Town, and I was floored with the amount of information that was out there. And I was like, why isn't this stuff more readily just
Accessible.
available rather
Yeah.
than having to dive into a forum? So from there, I created the Facebook group for dentists here in BC, just trying to like get people to collaborate more. Um, and as far as the actual like drive goes, I don't know, it's probably a family thing. I think my dad's an entrepreneur, and
Oh, okay.
I had zero entrepreneurial ambition from age 0 to 28, let's say. And then the switch flipped, and yeah, now here we are.
Scott, have you ever read the book E Myth Revisited?
I probably have it on my bookshelf over there. And
um,
yeah,
it basically says like entrepreneurs work on their business employees work in their I'm butchering the titles that he or the author uses, but
Yep.
essentially it's like the entrepreneur isn't working in the business. If you have a pie shop, the entrepreneur should not be the one making the
Yep.
pies. They should be working on the business. The one thing I've learned about myself is that I'm not an entrepreneur.
Really
And yeah, I'm actually a very poor entrepreneur. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to myself, because I know myself. I belong working in the business. I don't belong working on the business, because I just have a problem with seeing big picture. And
interesting.
yeah, like I feel like I work best when I define my set of goals and I
Mhm.
try to hit those goals, but I know what the direction is. I find it very difficult to have this abstract idea and then find my way there. My brain doesn't work that way. Um, do you know what I'm saying? And do
Yes.
you,
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
How,
read
how
E-Myth a
does your brain
bunch.
work?
Like, I mean, I totally agree with the working on your business thing. I probably see myself more in that entrepreneurial side rather than the technician or the pie baker
Yes, the
side.
technician. That's the name that they
Yeah,
use. The
technician,
technician works in the
manager,
business. Yes, yes.
and I can't remember what the other one was,
Yeah.
but uh, I read that pretty early on, and it was probably around 2 or 3 years out of dental school, and that was one of the things that kind of flicked the switch. And then I saw my dad's business start to really start to grow when I was already done dental school, and it kind of sowed the seeds of being able to see his ability to kind of control his income, lifestyle, time that he was able to spend at home. Uh, that kind of informed my, I guess, decisions further down the road.
Yeah. No, I like that. But like I don't want to discourage the technicians of the world out there, because I am a
No,
technician. There's nothing wrong with that. I still make a very good living. I do really well like with my own little projects. But the one thing I've learned about entrepreneurialism, or whatever the term is,
entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship, I can't even know the terms, man.
There's too many syllables.
There is. Dude, the one thing I've learned is if you don't know that business inside and out, stay the hell out.
Mhm. And
So sorry, like when I started trying to, everyone's like, Nicky, you need to invest, whatever the hell that means, man. Invest. So I bought a portion of a building company,
right.
failed. I bought a portion of an electrical business, failed. I own rental houses that suck the life out of me, failed. Right. I've done very poorly
Mhm.
in everything that I don't know very well about, but we talk about dentistry and I kill it.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, like, you're way more technically skilled than I am in dental stuff, except for maybe fillings, as
Yeah.
you found out of that course.
Yeah,
Sorry.
your fillings are pretty nice.
I totally agree with the business that you're getting into. But I mean, for me, the business of running a seminar or a GPO isn't something that I know, but at least it's related to dentistry, which I do know.
But that's what I'm saying. If we
Yeah.
stick within the dental realm, I feel like we're okay. I have a strong feeling that, you know, out of Vancouver, out of Toronto, there's been a lot of people come out being real estate moguls, and they think they've known it all, but really they've had success because of timing in the market. If
Mm,
they moved to an area that has seen a huge bust like Alberta, outside Calgary, Edmonton, man, I want to see you bring your real estate skills there, and let's see what type of mogul you are, because
yeah.
timing does not indicate like your ability to kill it in
Yeah.
the real estate realm. And I've seen so much of that, and I just kind of laugh at, like, when I scroll on Instagram, do you want to make like, 7 figures flipping houses? And I'm like, okay, like, let's see you do that in a different market, right? And so it's I just found entrepreneurship a little bit interesting when you take a step back and you look at it. But the only thing I found work really well for me is like within the dental field, like
Yeah.
you said, whether it's running seminars. For me, it's Third Molars Online, and for Kakabo Dental Network and Snowball Seminars. Like, I think that's badass, man. And I love your willingness to help other dentists get better.
Thank you. You as well. You as well. Even though I haven't taken your course, but I
You
barely
don't
take
need to
out
take
teeth
my course.
anymore.
No,
So
no. No, it's all good. How do you how do you spread your ability to like how do you know you're qualified enough to host a seminar? I get asked that all the time. I want to hear what you say.
A, turnout for the free events.
Yeah.
So PDC, uh, B, the Facebook group that I had mentioned that I run for dentists. A lot of questions come up in there, and I get DMs back and forth about various aspects of startups. So through that, I was able to kind of realize there was a bit of an appetite for that
Yeah.
material. There would be a market for that. Uh, yeah, it wasn't so much just kind of taking a gamble. Like I had done a little bit of due diligence and surveyed the group, et cetera, before putting all the time and effort into launching these things. So
Totally.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't understand the guts it takes to host a course or to
Oh,
share your knowledge because you're basically standing up there and waiting for people to just fire at you.
oh
You know what
man.
I mean? And dentists are some of the harshest critics out there. And you
And
have
we
to do
have no filter
no filter.
on the social context of trying to
Oh,
call somebody out in front of hundreds of people.
no,
Those are
man.
conversations to be had for after the lunch break.
Yeah. Man, I remember I was giving a lecture in front of 300 people and one person yells out, "Who the hell are you for taking out that tooth?" And I was like, I don't even know how to respond. Like this was like early on in my speaking career. And like now I'd be like, man, let's go for a drink after. You're disturbing everyone. I love that we all have different abilities. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's like early on then I was like, I'm sorry. like,
Gotta like take a
you don't know
page
what
at
to
the
say, right?
stand-up comedians and be able to deal with the
It
hecklers in the crowd.
it does. Like speaking publicly gave me so much more respect for stand-up comedians because if
Oh,
you think about it, a
absolutely.
stand-up comedian has to think on their feet, and stand-up comedians are the best storytellers out there.
Yes.
And so
100%.
yeah, do you know P.O. Modi from Ontario?
No, I don't.
The guy's a phenomenal dentist. He does like,
Okay.
man, full mouth rehabs. He does all the Dawson courses. He teaches them. I hope it's Dawson. I think it's Dawson in Florida. He teaches all these courses, but the dude was on just for laughs. He's an actual
Really?
stand-up comedian. And
Oh
and
man.
I think those people out there become like anyone who can tell amazing stories become killers in their fields because everything we do in life revolves around storytelling. In order to get
Yes.
more clients in sales or in dentistry, it revolves around storytelling. It's your ability to connect with people through stories, and that's kind of what I've distilled it down to. And
Especially when those stories have high emotional pull, whether it's a tearjerker or like elation or extreme laughter.
yeah,
Like those two extremes of emotion, if you can combine that, you're golden.
oh, totally, man. But hey, Scott, I got to ask you. I
Yes.
had a pretty tough day at the office today. What do you find is your tough days? Like what do you define as a tough day? Because we're two totally different dentists, man.
Tough day for me is dealing with the HR issues that inevitably come up with the growing teams. Uh, it's extremely high aesthetic demand patients where
Yeah.
I haven't, or actually extremely high aesthetic demand patients where I've tried to manage expectations as clearly and bluntly and repeatedly as I can, but something just isn't getting through. Uh, those would probably be the two big things
Really?
that makes days tough.
Have you ever had to, speaking of high aesthetically demand or just high demand patients, have you ever told a patient, I'm not the dentist for you?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Being in Vancouver, the line that I like to use is there's plenty of other dentists within a few minutes away, and they might be a better fit for you.
Yeah. Huh. I
It
use a similar line. I had a patient like just last week. He wouldn't sit in the dental chair, was sitting in like, the side chair. And I'm like, hey, like, if you come sit in the chair, I can look in your mouth. And he was just testing me the whole time. Like, where'd you
Right.
go to school? Like all this. And I'm like, dude, you're here. Like, I'm either for you or I'm not. And then he wanted a couple implants, and he let me take an x-ray, but still wouldn't let me look in his mouth. And I was just getting like red flag after red flag.
Yep.
And he was like, so can you do the case? And I was like, and it was such an easy case. And I was like, nope,
And yes.
nope, can't do the case. Well, you don't feel confident to? Nope, nope, not good enough to. And I just like,
Those are the, yeah.
Yeah, I had to like talk myself down. He's like, I thought you said you've been practicing for 15 years. And I'm like, did I say 15? I meant 3, man. Like, I'm not ready. Yeah, man. I just find if you can spot those red flags right off the bat, man,
Yeah.
it just makes your
10-foot
life
pole.
so
Yeah.
much easier, man.
Yeah. I turned down a big aesthetic case last week, and my stomach lining is intact. My sleep
Totally.
is fairly good. And yeah.
Yeah. I always teach this in all my courses. I say, you will never lose sleep over treatment you do not do. Never once. Right.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. I
But
think being younger, we're always so eager to get
yes,
into it. And then you're just like,
totally.
maybe this wasn't worth it.
No, like the first like 3 to 4 years of your career, you're hungry for those aesthetic cases. You're hungry to do those bigger cases, right? Because you think it's like it comes with clout. It's a big case. You're learning. You're gonna have the ability to showcase your skills, and those are the cases that just blow up in your face because you don't go over your informed consent well enough, or you don't explain that all these implants you're doing will fail eventually. Like nothing's lasting forever, right? Yep. And so
there's always going to be another one walking in the door at some point.
There always will be.
On efficiency.
So true. Hey Scott, can you tell me, I'm like, my mind is still going on here about this like startup thing, like, or yes. Sorry, the snowball, the dental seminars. Yep. Okay. If I was expanding, first of all, I'm thinking like, I wish I would have gone to something like this before I expanded my clinic. What pitfalls do you think a lot of people will fall into without going to the seminar? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are the most common things that people have problems with that you're able to solve for them?
One would be equipment. There's a bit of a pitfall in terms of following the advice of
sales
reps that have a biased, vested opinion in what you buy and how much you buy. And there's extreme cost savings to be had in terms of being pretty frugal with, especially your cabinetry.
Man, you took the words out of my mouth, man. I think the biggest scam in dentistry, period, is cabinetry.
Years.
Yeah. Like, I think it's hilarious.
I used to work as a cabinet maker back in the day. I used to build cabinets, and dental cabinetry is not all that it's cracked up to be.
No. And my favorite line is like, the sales rep would be like, yeah, but this cabinet's going to last you 30 years. And I'm like, I don't want the cabinet to last me 30 years because that means I'll have an avocado green cabinet because it was cool at the time. Yeah. But 30 years later, man, it's shit. You know what I mean?
Or it counts as a piece of medical equipment because it has a serial number, so you can take it off the wall when you move. Why am I going to take it off? Why am I planning on moving right now if I'm doing a startup? Save the cash for earlier. So yeah, taking advice from people that have a bit of a biased opinion. And don't get me wrong, like, sales reps are great. Like, we need them. They need us. But there's certain very large purchases and decisions that if you make the wrong move, it can severely handicap the growth. I think I've got a slide in one of my lectures with remember B Rabbit?
No.
You like hip hop?
No.
B Rabbit, 8 Mile.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
8 Mile, B Rabbit. Yeah, so it's a screenshot of him on the on stage at the I can't remember with the cipher or whatever, and it just says you only get one shot.
Yeah.
And if some of those one shots aren't if you don't hit them out of the park, that's when things can spiral downhill and you're pretty much handicapped for the rest of the time the clinic's operating.
No, I totally hear that. I feel like you will talk about this at your PDC lecture, but what is the one thing in your clinic that you should invest in? Like what's worth it? You know what I mean? Like what's worth going after the best of the best?
Location.
No, no, no. I mean equipment. I mean equipment.
Oh,
But yeah, location's
locations
important.
is like by far, like I would way rather pay a higher lease rate for a grade A location compared to somewhere buried in like a professional building. But equipment, where to invest. The digital stuff is easy. I mean, big TV, that's not even an investment. A 50-inch big screen is not expensive, but
No, like $500 now,
it gets
man.
expensive. Uh, Photography, being able to show people photos of what's going on in their mouth. Scanners, I mean, pick a scanner. It's going to do a great job at showing people what's going on with their bite from angles that you can't get with a camera.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that I use every day. And yeah,
Do you
what would you
think
say?
I don't know. I think, man, I don't have too many name brand things, but the one name brand thing I have that I really love are my ADEC chairs.
Oh, okay.
And the
Okay.
reason I say that is because I've had, like, through all the expansions, we've added other brand chairs.
Okay.
And I know we've paid a premium for those ADEC chairs,
Mhm.
but I have to say I've never had a problem with one of them. And
Interesting.
I've had problems with the other ones, but I've never had a problem with ADEC chairs. And just when we did our last recent expansion, I was like furious at my sales rep. I'm like, dude, you're killing me with the cost difference between other brand chairs. And he's like, dude, ask anyone out there. I'm not even selling this to you. Go ask random people which brands they've had problems in their chairs in, and all of them will say different brands other than ADEC. So I have full respect for ADEC
Interesting.
chairs. But on the flip side, ADEC cabinetry, are you shitting me? Like, come on. No, who's buying that crap? But then you'll go to these clinics and I'm like, why did you buy an ADEC cabinet for like 40 grand? What's wrong with you? You know what
And
I
it's
mean?
eating up like 8 square feet times
Yeah,
however many operatories that you got, and you're paying anyways.
totally.
The ADAC, hey, I've got Belmont chairs. I've got a bit of a unique delivery system in that I just have the bare chair
Mm-hmm.
with no lights attached, no delivery system. I've got a separate delivery cart. There's a company out in Massachusetts called Ergonomic Products, and I really
Ooh.
like their stuff.
That's
Yeah,
actually a unique approach. So, like, you have a
right.
movable dental cart.
It's movable in the sense that you can like slide it around like
Yeah.
in maybe like a 1 square foot
Yeah. But like each room
area.
has their own.
Each room has their own, yeah.
Ooh.
But I mean, it's got everything at your fingertips. They kind of took a book out of I don't know, what was the book called? Took a page out of the Toyota. I think it's called the Toyota Way,
Yeah.
uh, where they basically emulated Toyota's philosophy of lean manufacturing principles and having everything accessible at the workstation. And when I looked through that book, I was like, hey, this kind of looks like the woodworking shop that I used to work at, where we had like the workstation with the patient, and then you've got your like air gun, which is your handpiece or whatever, and you got all your supplies, your nails, your screws, aka your composite and whatnot, all within arm's reach. So it's easy to grab and get, and it's easy to see what's running low and what you need to restock on. And yeah,
Hmm.
that I guess that's where I kind of splurge on my.
I like that. I like that. What about cost efficiencies? Like, where do you find the biggest cost savings that a lot of dentists waste their money on? But, where we can save money.
GPOs.
Yeah.
The
Like, how much would you
percentage
save
savings.
on average on like with a buying group?
Well, I mean, we're a month and a bit old, but I think the last quarter that I looked at, or sorry, the last month that I looked at, it was probably about 1,500 or $2,000 compared to what I was paying
Wow.
before. Um, and I mean, it depends on how many vendors that you're purchasing from and what your total volume is.
Yeah.
Um, but back to your question about cost containment, the resupply side of things, having things not buried behind cabinets. Uh, I mentioned my dad earlier. He designs and well, he used to design and build hydroelectric power plants, and they'd always have
Wow.
shops. Way more complicated than a dental clinic. My compressor goes down, I'm calling my dad instead of the
Yeah.
Sinclair guy. um, Anyways, so I mean, in all of these workshops, there's this whole world of industrial storage that is predicated on easy access, easy visualization of your supplies. So honestly, just having some open shelving or taking doors off of your existing cabinets, just so you can actually see stuff and not have it hidden behind whatever is stacked in front of it. So those are some of the easiest, quickest, cheapest things to
I
be
like
able to
that.
do. And then just setting up a formulary, so a list of supplies that you or your assistant or whoever does the ordering can pick from, so they can't stray off the recipe list and buy the organic composite instead of just the
Oh
regular
God.
kind. So that having a good frequency and cadence of ordering, so you're not
Yeah.
building up a huge supply of stuff that's bound to expire and in the back of the cabinet unbeknownst to you, and then you're like, oh, that's where that few $100 of GIC went.
Yeah. No, I love that. You know, I have to credit my office manager, Patricia. She was a previous guest on Hi, I'm Doctor. And
I listened to that one.
oh man, you know what she did at our Christmas party? This was freaking genius. We had our Christmas party on Friday, and we always give away like prizes. Like this year, we gave away like, you know, stand-up paddle boards and camping chairs
Nice.
and all that kind of like she's the best, man. You know what she did? She played Price is Right with dental products. And she's like, hey, and like my assistant went up there and like no one knows the cost of this stuff. How much is two syringes of composite? How much is like, you know, match the price? And like people went up, match the price. Who the hell thought Fuji was $330?
I'm writing
Composite.
this Price is Right
Oh
thing
my
down
goodness.
because
It
I
was
love that.
genius. And everyone's going up like, how much is a Cavitron scaler or a Cavitron tip for
Insert,
your
yeah.
yeah, insert. And like we all guessed, we're like $89. No, 350. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit. And then when I see, you know, my hygienist like on Monday morning, like trying to open up their bag of chips with a Cavitron in, obviously not, right? But like you're like, man, what are you doing? That's $350.
Or I don't know if you use BioClear matrices or love BioClear, but just
Oh,
but when they static cling and it's like
yeah.
ten
Boom,
dollars,
$250.
$10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
that
your
kills me so
associates go
fast.
through those gold shank burrs, like they just go through them like
Oh,
candy. I'm like, dude, $7, $7, $7. You drop three on the floor and you threw them in the garbage. Dude,
I'm
that's the
glad you brought. I gotta put this in my. We've got this like onboarding document about cost containment. I think yeah, just having this conversation with your team
yeah.
about what things cost, so it minimizes waste.
But the
Written
trick
this down
is
too.
you can't make it like, you know, don't you know this is $25? Like they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
But like I just thought the
exactly.
way that she did it was freaking genius, man. She's like, man, everyone's like bidding. They want to. It's like, you know, hidden advertising that you don't even know you're getting educated on and you're getting schooled. Oh
Shout out
man,
to
it was
Trish. It was an
yeah.
excellent idea.
Yeah, Patricia just killed it. That's my girl. Yeah, no, man. She's been my office manager. She's been in my office for 25 years. I've been there for
Dang.
14, but she's been there for 25 years. Today's her 25 year. We all pretended
Wow.
like you know, we didn't care and tomorrow's
It's
her
just
big
another
party.
day.
Yeah. No, man. Scott,
That's
that
amazing.
was dude, it was so nice to catch up with you. You know,
Likewise.
I think it's wicked that you can sit down at a course with someone and you know you're just like, hey Scott, hey Nikki, and then we're just two ordinary dentists, but then like behind the scenes we all have all this other shit going on, like with
Exactly.
Snowball and Kakebo, and man, you're expanding. Like we all have these different interests within dentistry. We're not just, you know, drilling and filling every day. Like we all want to help our colleagues out there. So once again, if you want to take Scott's Snowball seminars, where can he find where can everyone find you?
So snowballseminars.com. Hi, I'm Dr. 10 is going to be your discount
10%.
code for 10% off.
I like
And
it.
then hi, I'm Dr. 25 will get you 25% off your first payment for Kakebo.
Oh,
if you want to join the
damn.
dental networks. So
I got to throw
yeah,
that in the description. No, that's
sure. Yeah, go for it. And that's
yeah.
KKBOdentalNetwork.com.
CableDentalNetwork.com, Snowball Dental
Yeah,
Seminars or SnowballSeminars.com, right?
I believe so. That can't remember if I bought both domains. Now I got to check, but I'm pretty sure snowballseminars.com.
SnowballSeminars.com. Dude,
Yeah.
that's wicked. Scott, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I wish you all the best with your expansion. I'm glad Vancouver's treating you well. You know, things aren't as well here in Alberta. I can't say I'm is killing it like I don't have the same demographic growth you have right now, but you know, it's just time. Time markets go up and down, and hopefully I'll be there too. So I'm proud of you, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Nagy. This was a blast. Thank you. You're such an easy person to talk to, and your energy is infectious. And yeah, this was awesome.
Thank
will you be coming to you're speaking to PDC?
Yeah, I got a couple lectures, couple hands-on workshops. Yeah, I'll be at PDC.
Right
I'll see you in your lecture, man. It'll be wicked.
Right on.
Cost containment, PDC.
There you go.
Okay, we'll
All right,
see you
buddy.
guys later.
Good talking with you.